Welcome to Caledon, located on the Blackwater at the point where County Tyrone, County Armagh and County Monaghan meet.
The serpentine Blackwater has wound its course towards Lough Neagh from time immemorial, forming as it does both a natural boundary between Tyrone and its neighbouring counties of Monaghan and Armagh, and the first thoroughfare along which the earliest settlers are likely to have made their way. Over millennia, humans left this low-lying aquatic environment to create new habits away from the river. The relics of that early human interaction with the landscape can still be found in the many raths spotted across the district. These early farmsteads were at the core of a cattle-based economy that prospered here for centuries. Thus was born the ancient settlement of Kinnaird, the head of the hill, at a strategic bend in the Blackwater Valley where, in the medieval period, the ruling O'Neill established a fortification on their southern frontier. A castle at Kinnaird is mentioned in the annals in 1480 as being occupied by Sean Boy O'Neill, who defended it against the Earl of Kildare and an English army. A century later, Sir Henry Oge was restored to his lands there, having fought against Elizabethan forces during the 9 Years' War. His son, Sir Phelim O'Neill, was one of the principal figures in the rebellion of 1641. It was he who took Lord Caulfield prisoner at Charlemont, bringing him to Kinnaird where he would meet his death at the hands of O'Neill. General Monro is said to have crossed the Blackwater at this point on his march to Benburb in 1646. Sir Phelim's adversaries proved less forgiving than those of his father, and following his capture he was executed in 1653. Records from the time show Sir Phelim O'Neill as the proprietor of more than 1,200 acres of land, including Kinnaird town and parks. It was said that observable upon the lands belonging to O'Neill were the ruins of the market town and castle of Kinnaird, as well as a stone bridge over the river Blackwater. The castle and the lands were confiscated by Cromwell and granted to a branch of the Hamiltons in time, passing through marriage to the 5th Earl of Orrery, who developed a domain on the site. In 1779 the lands were bought by the Alexander family, who built Caledon House during the Georgian era. The name Caledon is most likely a derivation of the ancient Latin name for Scotland, Caledonia. At this point the old name of Kinnaird became eclipsed. Just east of where the O'Neill Castle once stood and stretching away from the domain emerged the modern village of Caledon, adopting the name of the big house in place of the old O'Neill settlement. Occupying a hill a little to the north, the needle spire at the Church of St John sits sentinel over the neat little village with its fine terraces of stone cottages.
St John's Church was built by the famous Primate Robinson, Archbishop of Armagh, in the 18th century. Perhaps a sign that this was the seat of the ancient church in the parish of Ahallu.
Today the graveyard is a repository in stone, retelling the history of those who built this place. The growth of the village as a port and a market town coincided with the Industrial Revolution, with mills and manufactories springing up and around its environs. By the 1830s, it had prospered under the watchful eye of the Earl of Caledon and contained more than 200 houses, most of which were built with stone. It was described as one of the best built towns in the north of Ireland by Samuel Lewis in his Topographical Dictionary. The many tributaries of the Blackwater provided the ideal environment for mills to be located along its course. The first water wheel made entirely of iron was said to be made for the Earl of Caledon to drive a mill here in 1829. The flour mill, which had once produced more than 9,000 tonnes of flour each year, was converted for the production of woolen cloth in the 1880s by Sir R. Smith & Co.
The Caledon beam engine is all that remains of Caledon woolen mills, which were demolished in 1985.
The mill is now gone. The great beam engine stands as a memorial to its heyday when its products were among the finest in the country. Over the last 200 years, the fortunes of this little village are recorded in its architecture, giving it a quite unique character. Alongside the artisans' cottages, its public buildings, courthouse, market house, fountain and churches have given Caledon all the appearance of a neat little English market town settled comfortably among the drumlins and woods of the mid-Ulster landscape. In recent years, an active community here has breathed new life into many of the old buildings, helping to preserve its personality.
The clock on the courthouse continues to chime out, a welcome to visitors to come to Caledon to see our built heritage and the surroundings.